XDC and maybe the idea of it, even let's say hypothetically reaching the price of $1, it doesn't even seem that bad to me. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, oftentimes I talk about XDC and maybe the idea of it at the price of $3, but sometimes you want to know about a different price target, right? I've heard some of my friends say, hey, talk about 50 cents and all this, but I just kind of feel like that's a little bit hypothetically too low. So I'm going to take a look at that $1 scenario, which I don't think is actually too much to ask for. Again, I get it. The price of XDC has gone down. A lot of altcoins, they're not doing good. But then in my opinion, this is kind of like a time where I do want to be bullish. But before I get into that, I want to talk about why a dollar doesn't seem that unrealistic. Going to the price of $1, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $16 billion. Now it's around a 16x from here. Keep in mind, XRP, which is the market leader as of right now when it comes to these type of projects that are focused on global trade and finance and the payments market, which XDC is, and XRP right now has a market cap that is well beyond $100 billion. So in my opinion, if let's say XRP has that right now, and the altcoin space, I think many people can agree, is not doing the best, are we saying that, around a $16 billion market cap for something like XDC is too much to ask for? Keep in mind, it's not like there's 20 or 30 major competitors within this market. Like for instance, if we take a look at blockchain gaming, NFTs, DeFi, there is a lot of competitors there. Also take a look at, other sectors too, right? In this space, there really isn't that many. And I think a major reason why was because of the Ripple and SEC, kind of situation that was going on for, quite a number of years now. Hopefully, all that type of stuff is kind of gone now, in theory, at least in terms of the kind of fear and whatnot. And I think as a result of that, there wasn't many developers willing to kind of enter into this space, which actually I think is again, now a blessing in disguise, because now something like XDC doesn't have many competitors. And again, if there isn't that many options to begin with, are we saying that something that is pretty much top 5 within its space, which I really do believe it is, because again, XRP number 1, XLM number 2, and number 3, arguably I'd say XDC, you know what I mean? So then this can't, let's say hypothetically, reach a market cap that is like over $90 billion less than XRP's current market cap, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it could maybe reach that tomorrow or something. I'm not saying that. How about during a fully fledged type of hypothetical make-believe altcoin season? You know what I mean? So then I don't think that this is something that may seem ridiculous, but who knows? Only time will tell. I can't tell the future, but again, it doesn't seem too unrealistic. Now, let me explain why I think XDC has amazing fundamentals. Because if we take a look at the XDC network, some people like to say, oh, it's kind of bad and all this. I disagree. It's an enterprise-grade blockchain protocol that is purpose-built for global trade and finance. Why does this matter? It's because the payments market currently valued at over $2 trillion. The global trade and finance market, which according to Mordor Intelligence, is expected to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028. So very massive markets right there. Very similar to, of course, the markets that are focused on by Ripple and Stellar. But even besides that, something that really I think gets me excited is that when it comes to the XDC network, it is powered by the XDC protocol. And the amazing thing about that is this. It has aspects of ISO 20022, much similar to Ripple and Stellar. This matters, in my opinion, in the world of kind of like this space, because ISO 20022, that is currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for something called inter-organizational data exchange. So it's already something that's very up and running. You know what I mean? It's something that is very widely used. So that is kind of like something that I think is very exciting for me. Not to mention, if we take a look at it, when it comes to the XDC protocol, it has the ability to be integrated with internal legacy systems, like for instance, Swift payment databases. And take a look at Swift. It's very popular in the banking world. You know what I mean? So then when I take a look at something like XDC, this is something I want to focus on. I'm not telling anyone to buy XDC, by the way, and I'm not saying I only hold XDC, but it kind of has to be one of my foundational pieces in my portfolio. Sure, I believe in XRP, I believe in XLM, but I want to allocate more in theory towards something like XDC because, in order for XRP to do over 10x in the next 6 to 10 months, I think very difficult in theory because the market cap is already too massive. I see some people out there saying, oh, XRP is going to do this and do that. Well, we have to take a look at the market cap. right? Would it make sense for XRP to reach a market cap of nearly like 2 trillion during this run? I think highly unlikely, you know what I mean? So the way you take a look at it is that what would be more logical and what would have an easier time in theory doing over a 10x in the next 6 to 10 months, let's say, XDC or XRP. Just based off the market cap, I would have to assume XDC, even though I cannot tell the future. But I'm going to stay patient because some people out there, they like to say that, oh yeah, the factors when it comes to cryptos are very bad. Well, I kind of disagree with that because if I take a look at just this crypto space within a vacuum, right, just within itself, I kind of feel like the factors are actually very bullish. Like for instance, take a look at the number of institutional investors, take a look at the number of enterprise adoption, take a look at also the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, not to mention, we have over 600 million crypto owners currently. Like I'm not talking about a projection. We have it right now, allegedly according to Crypto.com research, which is more than ever before in history. So we gotta let that sink in. Back in the peak of the 2021 bull run, around 300 million crypto owners, and that was during the peak, you know what I mean? Now we have over 600 million, and we're nowhere near a fully fledged type of altcoin season. It's just that the way I take a look at it is that no matter how bullish the factors are when it comes to altcoins and whatnot, and also just, the crypto space overall, it wouldn't really be able to live up to its maybe hypothetical true potential if the markets in general are not going to allow for it to do that. But I think that the foundation is there, the catalyst is there in theory, if let's say the markets do recover. So this is why I'm still very patient and I'm still waiting because even as a worst case scenario, historically speaking, altcoins, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, 18 months after the last Bitcoin halving event around October this year. So again, even though that may not necessarily happen the exact same time this time around, even if let's say the markets were very amazing, even right now, because we're not in October, right, might not even be historically a hypothetical situation where altcoins are supposed to peak as a worst case scenario anyways, So then why would I be thinking like, oh yeah, and all this, it's over? Well, I don't want to think that way because the way you take a look at it is that I don't want to just give up like that. Again, I can't tell the future, but I'm still very excited and I see all those bullish factors. I'm not going to give up. If someone likes to say, hey, XDC has no future, are they saying that XRP has no future? Are they saying that XLM has no future? Because naturally, if those two projects do gain momentum and a lot of traction, let's say during a hypothetical fully fledged bull run, I think some of it may kind of trickle down to XDC. And we even see it right now. XDC isn't a project that has like, a $10 million market cap or whatever. Market cap's pretty massive, right? So we've already seen the attention that it has as of right now, and not to mention the attention that it had not too long ago before the pullback. It did that without market conditions being as favorable as I think what it could be. It kind of did that back then. Imagine what it would do if, let's say, the altcoin space was really in fifth gear. If, let's say, the fully fledged type of altcoin season, like what we saw back in 2021, was here, let's say, this time around. So then that's just the way to take a look at it. All I can do right now is stay patient. That's it. I cannot control anything else. Sure, I can draw some random things on a price chart, draw a falling wedge pattern. That's not going to matter. The market's not going to listen to what I have to draw, or should I say pay attention, right? Let me rephrase myself. It's not going to pay attention to whatever I have to draw on a price chart. So I'd rather focus on the fundamentals. I'd rather focus on the project and just really stay patient. That's about it. I can't do anything else beyond that in terms of, the project. So that's what I'm going to do. Stay patient. Dollar cost average. That's it. And $1 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm on peace. Bye.